We are getting ready for the Draftmas season here in the Sportsocracy. And guess what? It's time for another team-by-team 3-round mock draft.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
The Philadelphia Eagles, they've got 2 picks in the first round. 2 picks, inside the top 20 in this mock draft.
Well, they don't originally.
Right.
There's a little movement there that I'm sure is going to get some interesting response.
Well, they do have the number 10 pick in the draft from the New Orleans Saints. Let's see who at ESPN Draft Nerd, Jeremy Greene, has them taking.
Lucas Van Ness, edge out of Iowa. Biggest knock on him is that he didn't play. He never started a game. He didn't play that many snaps. His 920 is what he played over the course of 26 college games. He's the best pass rusher in this class, not named Will Anderson. He's the most consistent pass rusher in this class, not named Will Anderson. And I firmly believe he is going to be a phenomenal pro. This is George Karlaftis last year that went to the Kansas City Chiefs on steroids. Because not only is he a good pass rusher, he's good against a run too. Super athletic. I mean, he looks like Thor. And I just the only knock on him is, well, he didn't start. Oh, and he's a situational pass rusher. He had the highest pass rush win rate in the fucking country.
And the question is, will he does he have to start for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Not off the jump.
No, he doesn't.
No, he's not off the jump. This can be the ultimate Brandon Graham replacement. And it's not a luxury. This is certainly a need because in Philadelphia, your quarterback's about to get really expensive. And so you're much like you did this year. You lose T.J. Edwards, you lose Marcus Epps, which I don't actually think that's not really a negative. And so you're going to have to do things like you did with Nakobe Dean. You take him last year, he doesn't play that many snaps. This year he's going to be a starter. So you have to do those things to keep the roster in place because you need the team-controlled talent, the years of team control. And Lucas Van Ness, to me, is such a good player. And I just feel like somebody like Howie Roseman is going to see the potential here. I think he has all-pro level potential as a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm. With their second pick in the first round.
Now, this is where it gets a little interesting because currently they have 30 and 62.
Mm-hmm.
I have them packaging those two to get up to number 17 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bob Brown, one of our lovely listeners of the show, asked, is there a possibility that they would give up a second-rounder next year? That's possible. I think that would probably cost you one of those 7th-round picks this year, as I'm not sure that Pittsburgh cares.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I thought about it, I'm going to leave it in place this way, but I'll tell you what they would do at 62 if they had that pick and you do use the second-rounder next year. So I've got them moving up to 17 to take who I have as the number 1 player in this class. Does he play a position that's not super valued? Yes, he does. But it's also a really important position in this offense, and it adds a totally different dynamic than what you've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas.
It would be phenomenal. You add him
Where
into
was
the
his
rushing
first visit?
attack.
Where was his first top 30 prospect visit?
Philadelphia?
Philadelphia. Yeah, that's not ironic. They're considering taking him at 10. That's not – I'm not being spicy at this point. So you can keep telling me, well, we don't value running backs. Well, you get 30 prospect visits. The first one that that was confirmed was with Bijan Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who the second one was with?
Who?
Lucas Van Ness. That's not an irony. I mean, when you hear hoofbeats, it makes a hell of a lot more sense to assume horses than zebras. And Philadelphia's telling you exactly what they're going to do or what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Bijan adds a completely different level to this offense. To me, he is as close. I actually have him slightly above Saquon Barkley because he's a little thicker. That's how good this kid is. I mean, he's one of the best running back prospects I've ever graded. And you add him to this offense that does lean on the run. First of all, you're not going to be able to run Jalen Hurts 17 times a game and keep him upright. Just not. It's not in the cards. If you think that Rashad Penny is all of a sudden going to come to Philadelphia and become more dependable, I have a bridge to sell you. So
right.
For me, this is A+. I don't give a fuck what they do the rest of the draft. I don't care. But if you want to hold on to that second round pick this year, I would probably be looking for somebody to play on the defensive line, an interior defensive lineman. That's kind of a dead spot for it. So at 62, I'm trying to find who I have Pittsburgh taking there, just for posterity's sake. They take Keely Ringo out of Georgia with that pick from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you kept that pick, you've addressed corner. I have you taking a safety with this last pick. I mean, this team just has so few needs. Linebacker would be nice if one fell. Deion Henley out of Washington State would be the one that first comes to my mind. But that's only if you keep that second-round pick. In this, you traded it to get to Bijan.
Adding Bijan Robinson only makes all the sense in the world because Rashad Penny has proven that he is.
Oh, he's fantastic
is
for 6 games, and then he breaks like a Fabergé egg.
But he needs to be the injury backup. You don't need to be having injury backups for a guy you know that's only going to play a few games.
Correct.
So you got him, and I think they re-signed Boston Scott as well. Like those things are pieces that they like to use. But Bijan is just a whole nother level.
I mean, and that's the other part of this is that Eagles fans always tell me, well, we use a rotation of running backs. Yeah, because you have a rotation of running backs. Because you haven't had a dog since fucking Brian Westbrook. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked that you've used a rotation of backs. The New York Giants did the same thing until they had Saquon Barkley. The Minnesota Vikings did the same thing until they had Adrian Peterson. There's a causation to this.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got a dog, you play the dog, and that's what Bijan is.
All right, no pick in the second round for the Philadelphia Eagles after the trade. So in the third round, they have number 95, and you got them taking a safety out of Illinois.
Sidney Brown. This is Chase Brown's twin brother. And to me, this is the Marcus Epps replacement. That's one of the only holes I really see on this Philadelphia team. I mean, there's no team in the NFL that has less needs than Philadelphia. It's a fact or fiction?
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, you have the best offensive line in the NFL. Somehow you kept that secondary together, which I'm still not 100% sure I understand. And your 2 picks are too high to take a linebacker. Now, that is actually one that I will tell you. They do not value linebackers to the point of taking them in the first round. So, I mean, I've tried to shoehorn that forever. I'm not going to continue to do that. So, and yes, I know you signed Terrell Edmonds. We're getting to a point in the NFL where you need 3 safeties. Seattle just showed this with Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, and Julian Love. So I think you would bring him along slowly, not because he's not ready to play. He's a high-level contributor now, but I think it allows the defense to be a little bit more multiple.
Right. Get some of those movable pieces, interchangeable pieces, throw some different looks at them. It makes all the sense in the world. Obviously, going forward or later in the draft, Philadelphia would probably need to target a corner at some point.
I mean, they do, but you've brought the entire secondary back. So I don't really have – I don't have that much aversion.
Except for C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Whoa. Oh, you lost the most annoying player in the NFL.
Right.
Ooh. Yeah, he got $8 million on the open market and a 1-year prove-it deal. That should tell you how the league feels about him. I think, look, I like him in Detroit. I liked him in Philadelphia. He is going to be a nomad bouncing around the league because he pisses people off. He has a really bad attitude. So, yeah, I mean, I would look to take a corner at some point. For me, corner, once you get past the top, say 9 or 10, then you have about 15 more that I have a grade that's within 0.2 of a point on. So I don't have to rush up and take one of those guys. I feel like you have to add a safety at some point, and after Sidney Brown, it turns into a freaking wasteland.
Can the Philadelphia Eagles make a return to the Super Bowl this upcoming season? They've got some of the best odds to do so.
Yeah, because their roster is really good, and the NFC sucks.
Yes, it does.
Sorry, Tampa fan.
Yeah.
Memories
Can't be great forever.
Like the colors of my mind.
Team-by-team content continues here in the Sportsocracy throughout all the draft in the season.
If you like these picks, if you hate these picks, if you want to call me a big mulleted dipshit and tell me how stupid it is to trade up for a running back, it's not, especially in this draft. Feel free to do that in the comments. If there's a player you'd like to know how they fit with the Philadelphia Eagles, comment that as well. I answer those as quickly as I can, and your question, comment, concern, telling me to go throw myself in front of a moving vehicle could be featured in our next Philadelphia Eagles video, which should be out sometime next week.
We here in the Sportsocracy would greatly appreciate it if you would like the video, share it out with your friends and fellow Eagles fans as well, and, of course, subscribe to the channel so you could join us every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6 on ESPN Asheville, and, of course, right here in the Sportsocracy.